Yeah. Bam, we're live. Where's Taylor?
Late.
Okay. It's too bad he's going to miss this genius. I want to try something on you, J.R. Hiller and Mr. Souza. Thought I had today while riding the assault bike. Last week, by the way, welcome everyone to the semifinals preview show, week 3. Everyone knows who Andrew Hiller Fit is, former affiliate owner and now YouTube friend. Matt Souza, owner of CrossFit Livermore, executive producer of the show, got me to get off my ass and stop playing with my kids to make some content. And my newest friend to the group, who I met through Brian Friend, who could not stop talking about this guy for the last year and a half, and close friends with and training partners with Jason Hopper and Taylor Self, and owner of CrossFit Crash, J.R. Howell. Last week, I was like, hey, man, we have a whole new group coming in. It's like, it's happening. We got James Sprague, Dallin Pepper, Colton Mertens. Like, it's here. Mal O'Brien. You know, it's here. We had some trickle in before them. You know, we got Haley Adams. You know, I'd say she's like maybe like approaching the middle of her career. But we got this whole new herd of people are coming in. And the other guys are getting old and washed up and bye-bye. But I want to propose something else to you that I think may have happened. We started with Fran. And when we started with Fran, there was only Fran. You just went to When we started with Fran, you just did Fran. The first time you heard Fran, you just went out to your garage or you went to the Globo gym and you just did Fran, and that was it. And maybe it took you 17 minutes or whatever. You didn't have a clock, whatever. Then finally, as you learn more about CrossFit, you know the workouts are timed, you figure out what a thruster is, and you do it as fast as you can, and you break 10 minutes, 7 minutes, 5 minutes. And that was the next evolution for Fran. And we started seeing the Greg Amundsons and Ani Sakamoto's and Josh Everett's doing these world-class times. And with that, we started seeing Unbroken Fran, right? And it was Unbroken Fran. And then we saw bar placement. How close can you get your bar to the pull-up bar? Faster Fran. Then we got Butterfly Fran. Now just world-class speeds. Then we get Miko Salo, and I don't know if he's the innovator of it, but we have someone pulling the bar down. Not gravity, pulling the bar down to even get off those extra minutes. So we have innovation, we have nuance, we have evolution. And then we have chest to bar Fran, and then we have heavy Fran, and now the athletes are getting even stronger. And as you put those forces on them, it causes adaptations, which makes their original Fran even faster. We're seeing something like that happen, I think. I would speculate, I would offer to you. We are seeing the newest innovation, and I think we're seeing it with people like Saxon Panchik, where this is actually a race now. I would even say I was playing around with, it's the year of transitions. There are no transitions anymore. It's a race. It's just one giant fluid. You just go from breaststroke to freestyle to backstroke. There's no transition. There's nothing. It's who can find that red line and hang out there, and just the transition is just part of the workout. We're seeing these people who are just, it's this new group, and we're seeing those innovations from Colton Mertens and the Barnes in Iowa. We're seeing them come out of the Mayhem Empire. We're seeing them everywhere. Maybe Matt Fraser invented them all in the last 5 years in Tia and everyone's watching closely. But I'm speculating something is changing, and we're watching it happen now with this new group.
And Red.
And of
you got more? What else you got?
That's it.
Did you listen to the Ben Smith podcast? Is he coming?
I did not. No. I invited Ben on though today. He said he's training someone, but I told him he can pop in any times. What are you seeing? Why are you saying that?
He covered this right in the middle of his podcast, which was about an hour. Right in the middle there, he was talking about how you see that it's a race, but he sees that the programming is shit. And he doesn't say that exact same thing. He sees an issue with the programming, and he sees that year after year there was innovation within the programming that would almost limit the athletes to an extent. And present day, it almost looks like, before we were on, we were talking about one of these competitions and one of these workouts, and how Souza said it looks like something that he would throw into his affiliate. And part of the thing that happens at the games at the semifinals level, in my opinion, is that there's another level to it. And some people might think that it's heavier. And then I think Taylor brought up somewhere that it should have been a pegboard ascent, like that it was at the games and then it filters down into the semifinals or the regionals. And that's what Ben Smith was trying to say, that there needs to be some sort of an evolution of the programming, which will almost make part of, not the entire thing, because there should be racing aspects of it, but part of the race should be how good you are at certain things, whether it be like parallel handstand push-ups or large numbers of muscle ups or weighted muscle ups, that sort of deal. And he talks largely, and I just made an entire video, which is why I can talk so deep into this, about how that's one of the biggest things missing in competition right now. What do you
Is
think?
that?
Yeah,
Go ahead, Taylor.
I was just going to say, when a lot of these events make it, MAC and Syndicate, for example, when they make it so purely capacity based, that's a huge part of CrossFit.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean capacity based? Define that for me. Explain that to me.
So just power output on machines, for example.
Okay.
You know, I guess, capacity is a very broad and vague term. In today's world, when you say capacity, we think, 100 bar facing burpees for time or a 2K row. Anyway, so they make it so based on just that metabolic conditioning piece. That's important, but like Andrew just said, so is 30 muscle ups unbroken for time. That's, in terms of the 10 general skills, when you're looking at CrossFit's core methodology, all of those 10 skills are equal. So you have to have workouts that the skill is what's slowing you down, not your ability to pull 130 on the rower for 5 minutes. Your ability to do, like Andrew said, parallel handstand push-ups, ring muscle ups, the obstacle course at 2018 regionals, stuff like that.
JR, do you have any thoughts on it? Are we seeing an evolution right now? Are we seeing a new blood come in? It almost makes me feel like now it's finally a sport. Like before, there was a chance that some guy could be plucked off the street and do Fran and beat the 2009 CrossFit Games champion. Now there's no fucking chance of it, because it's actually there's nuances in speed to it that absolutely requires practice.
Yeah, I'm going to actually take another angle here. What I think has evolved more than anything is the programmers and the event directors' decision on whether or not to make the workouts fun to watch or good tests. So instead of doing like a simple couplet, which is kind of funny, if you look around to all the semifinals that have occurred and then some of the semifinals that are going to happen, you don't see many couplets. And I'm not going to count the rope climb shuttle run because that was mandated by CrossFit. In couplets, if you ask people in the gym, hey, name 5 CrossFit workouts, I guarantee you that 3 or 4 out of the 5, with the exception of Murph, are going to be probably benchmark workouts that are couplets or triplets. So when you watch a couplet, it can be boring, but it's their responsibility as the organizers and the programmers to still make it fun to watch. So when you put all these transitions in there and you always are trying to progress down the floor, which is like one of the most innovative things Dave ever did, because it allowed the viewers to follow along and see who's winning versus just doing 50 ring muscle ups for time. Sure, that's not the most fun thing to watch, but are we trying to make it the most fun sport to watch, or are we trying to test the fittest?
Can we have both?
We can. We did with Dave.
Fran. How about Fran? That Fran workout. I'm getting ahead.
Real quick, JR, this question's for you. What do you think? Was there some sort of implication there that you don't like 6 movements? The transitions bug you when there's like 6 transitions. You don't like this back and forth?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
As long as the amount of time spent per movement ends up mattering, and the workout is not solely based upon how fast you can get from one movement to the next.
Okay. All right, guys. Let's move on to the Granite Game, shall we?
Yes.
Thank you. Great discussion. Susie, can you bring up the boys for the Granite Games? I was able to watch Morning Chalk Ups, Patrick Clark, Tommy Marquez, Brian Friend, and the Miss Khaleesi, Lauren Khalil. And then I was also got notes, a ton of awesome cliff notes from Will Plummer. Thank you, Will. So you guys are in big trouble. I know my shit. Are these the boys? I don't recognize these names. Oh yeah, there we are. Okay.
Those are the men.
The men. Sorry. Do you want to dive in on anyone in particular? I'll start at the top, Hiller, that you think we should watch, or who is not going to do well this week. Sorry, I'm deviating from your timeline a little bit, Taylor.
No worries.
Okay.
What's Taylor's timeline? Did I miss an email?
No. It's only for me.
We can save the first part for Ben when he comes on, because I want to hear his thoughts on that.
Taylor's such a boss that he anointed me the boss. He's such an alpha. He appointed me the boss. He's like, this is how the show is going to run.
Men. Granite Game's men. Taylor, what do you think?
I think that Sevan's wrong and Fikowski's going to win.
I think Brent's probably winning too, and I think
I
so
want to know
because
what
there's
ground he stands upon saying he's going to lose.
yeah, let's hear that.
He's an outlier, and it's always being overlooked. It's always being overlooked. He has no better chance. The only thing he has better than Colton Merton is experience. And he's old. And he's old.
I wouldn't say that. So
and he's an outlier, and he's a pacer. And based on my premise that those days are over, this thing has turned into a race. And I haven't even looked at the workouts.
Well, so that's why I think you're wrong is you haven't looked at the workouts. I think Brent Fikowski does a lot of things better than Colton, and I think Colton would admit that himself. I'm sure that Colton does a lot of things better than Brent, but that being said,
stick with that second sentence. Stick with that second thought.
Well, there's 3 chippers, and I think most people that are pretty familiar with men and the sport of CrossFit and the games would admit that Brent Fikowski is probably one of the best in the world at chippers. And pacing them correctly. And there's 2 workouts that are 25 minutes or longer. And Brent's another person who's really, really, really good at those workouts. And there's no handstand push-ups, which is in years past his biggest weakness.
I think that pacing is going to hurt him this year. I think that everything is more turning into a race. We even saw it in some of the 25-minute workouts last week. People were just racing to finish that time cap, the top guys. I think Colton has a pain cave mixed with brilliant movement that's gonna keep him going. And Fikowski is he gets behind, and he needs all 15 workouts to win. He gets behind.
Dude, he was third. He was third.
He might be in the last chance qualifier.
No way. In an online format like the Atlas Games, yes. In person, I mean, he won Dubai. He was third at the games last year. I don't know, man. That's a hot take.
Well, the fact that you even talk to me about it makes me feel like you're either lying or you think I'm a complete idiot.
I think you're an idiot.
Mr. Howell, go ahead.
Yeah, so there's a couple things here.
Yeah.
The more time Brent has to do workouts and play with them and strategize pacing, the better he's going to do. So at the games, he doesn't have a ton of time typically. Sometimes he finds out events on the fly, and that's what he's the best at. He's the best at knowing his ability and his limits and then pacing that to make up for maybe shortcomings he has in range of motion or, anything like that. So when you have 2 of the workouts this weekend, like Taylor said, were long, the busier the workouts are, the longer they are, and the more stuff that's in them, the better it's going to be for Brent.
What's Taylor waving? You got a fly in your face?
No, there's just way too much stuff, and JR is completely right. The entire Granite Games workout field is full of stuff, and the more stuff, the better Fikowski is going to do. Every workout's a chipper. That's what Taylor said. They're all chippers. And have you ever watched a CrossFit event, Sevan? He wins every single chipper.
No, I'm in the back talking. I'm in the back talking to the athletes.
He's the king of chippers.
Right, you're right.
But I'm telling you, those days are over.
I'm telling you, you're wrong. And should we make a bet? What's the bet? What do you want to bet?
Yes.
I bet you $100 that he wins this competition.
Yes.
This guy in the comments, Nick Flores, is calling Brent a pussy. I think we should put the comment up on the screen so Brent can see it and go savage this weekend.
This one right here. Brent's pain cave is not large. He does not live in the pain cave. He does not. And Colton does live there. And Phil Toon lives there. And all these new cats live there. And I'm concerned that my homeboy, Travis Mayer, is also going to try to pace it and forget that there's a bunch of young kids here who are just hungry as shit. So what? So what if I have the pig blinders on? I don't give a shit.
I agree. I like the when you said hungry, you made me, you swayed me a little bit.
Samuel Quant is not going to beat Colton Mertens this weekend.
That's a wild card. That's one we can talk about as well. That's a huge.
I didn't realize I was going to get so wound up.
I mean, here's the thing. Here's the thing about Sam. Are we done with Brent? Are we done talking about Brent?
Yeah.
The Sam Quant thing is really interesting because you look at a guy who I think his first year was 2014. 2014, he comes in, makes a huge splash. 2015, he has an injury. I don't think he comes back. I think he comes back in 2016, so he misses out. 2015, comes back 2016. Again, 2017, misses out 2018 and 19 maybe. And then, boom, 2020, COVID games, second. So I don't know that, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, you know, the format's favoring him, but I think he's had some really, there's just been some really weird consistency things with him. Like he's missed out for some stretches a couple times, but then he comes back and it's like, wow, where was this the last time we saw him compete? And if this is Sam coming back out of hibernation this year, I think we'll find out. It's just anything. You know, he could place 20th or he could fucking win and crush everyone.
And I'm sure he believes in himself.
Yeah, no doubt. And I'm sure he's fucking pissed about last year. That's another thing you got to look at. When you see somebody who gets their back put up against the wall, somebody who's a competitor to that degree that he is, you know, he's been training all year with last year's finish in the back of his mind. And that's probably scary for a lot of guys.
The best thing he's got going for him is he's no longer with Bergeron.
Jeez Louise.
You're going to make Sevan mad.
Listen, Ben Bergeron had Katrin Davids Doder and Matthew Fraser the same year. You cannot dog him.
Come on, we talked about this, and we know how much you love Katrin. You just love Katrin.
I'm just telling you, he trains champions.
Yeah, Matt Fraser. Never mind. We're not talking about this again.
Okay,
talk about the Granite Games.
You already took a shot at him. I got to defend him. That's
talk about Phil Toon.
Phil Toon. Sorry, Ben. I wish someone was defending you who wasn't also saying Fikowski's not going to make it to the games. JR, what do we think about Phil Toon? Another young up-and-comer, super camp. Dallin Pepper, James Sprague, Emma Carey. I mean, is Fee Sagaffi over there too?
No, Emma Carey.
Emma Carey.
Okay. Oh, yeah, she's the only girl. Okay. What do you think about Phil?
Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited to watch him. You know, equally as excited as I was last weekend to watch Dallin after seeing them both compete at Wodapalooza in person. Phil is, you know, talk about like twitchy athletes, right? Type 2 athletes. I've probably never seen someone more explosive other than like on a basketball court than Phil Toon. It really is impressive with his squat speed, just the way he cycles all of his movements. You know, the one question I have is if you look back at his previous year's workouts, I mean, it's almost been, you know, 8 or 9 months. The only workout that he really did poorly on, the last chance qualifier, was the squat clean ladder with the legless rope climbs. And we can assume the squat cleans were not the issue. So looking at the last event, which I think is the most well-placed CrossFit mandated workout of all the semifinals so far, putting the legless rope climb workout last. It is a sprint. It's fun to watch as a final. And let's see where Phil is heading into that workout, and the questions will be answered then.
Wow. Sorry, Taylor, just to clarify, you're saying on June 5th, this workout that I see at 2:05 p.m. is the legless rope sprint event. Yeah, that's smart, huh?
Yeah, I really like that.
Are you telling me the Granite Games website has them in the wrong order?
Yes, the website for Granite Games is never in the right order. If you go on their Instagram, they have the schedule laid out, and on the schedule, it has the names of the events.
Hey, they're taking a page out of the CrossFit Games website.
So,
hey, it may be the 5th event. It may be the 6th event. It may be.
The thing I want to mention, JR, about Phil's last chance qualifier legless workout, and I just came across this tidbit of information, which, not to give Phil an excuse, but does make a big difference, is allegedly he used a nylon rope for his rope climbs in that workout, which is exponentially harder than the standard, you know, burlap sack colored, you know, tan rope. You use a white fucking nylon rope. It's like a slip and slide.
You're referencing something he posted on his Instagram?
No, I heard from somebody that when he did that workout, and I don't know if his gym was like back in Nevada at that point in time, they have nylon ropes. A lot of gyms have like either the black or the white nylon ropes, and they're just slippery. So doing a legless workout on them, a whole lot harder.
Yeah, I mean, we've already mentioned the fact that the rope climbs are probably closer to 14 feet than 15. And Phil's he's a fellow hooper. I mean, the dude can jump out of the gym. I'm sure he can jump high enough to where he only needs 2 or 3 pulls to touch. So, I mean, I still think he's going to do well in that workout.
Phil the hooper. And he's young. He might be overtrained.
Why do you say that?
Well, because
He's
last
actually
year,
mentioned on the podcast before that his training age and his body's age are a lot different. You know, he played basketball growing up, and then I think he went into a deep powerlifting stint. And he's been on the show before talking about how his, you know, back and knees and everything are a little bit achier than the average 24-year-old.
He's also way stronger than the average 24-year-old. It's a lot of weight
Yeah,
on
you
those
kind of
guys.
take the good with the bad, buddy.
Sean, how did you know?
did Bergeron bang one of Hiller's ex-girlfriends or something? I know. It's exactly where I went.
He's banged all of them, just like
Dick-
he gets the seconds from all of them.
Dick Butter, who asked JR to talk? I was wondering the same thing. Go back to that overhead again, Souza. Watch how the bar comes out of placement and he pushes it back. This fucking guy is strong.
He moves really well too.
Yeah, he was doing those lunges and the bar started coming forward and he shoved it back.
He's got great overhead position.
I thought it did, yeah. Wow.
I thought that was you for a second,
freak
Sevan.
athlete. The
Say that
only
again?
thing he
What'd you
said,
say,
I
Hiller?
thought that was you for a second.
Oh, nothing. I just thought it was you for a second.
Oh, the birds? No, that's you. You have birds at your house.
Yeah, I've been muting.
only-
I've been trying.
The only thing I worry about with Phil is the 2 long workouts this weekend. Is I think obvious. Also, previously, it seems that some of the longer workouts and some running have given him some issues. So we'll have to see if he's cleaned that up. But the guy is super fit. So I'm pumped to watch him.
Do we want to wait till Ben's on before we talk about that there's 2 25-minute events before we break down the programming a little bit, Taylor?
Well, is he guaranteed to come on? Because if not,
No.
this is some. All right, let's talk about it then. We got to talk about this.
Okay. So there's 2 25-minute. Well, first let's talk about Travis Mayer, and then we'll do this. Another big name. Is Travis going?
Yes.
Yes.
Done. Sorry, Travis. No airtime for you. Travis Mayer is going.
The workouts
so
are
right
real
now
good
we're in consensus that Colton Mertens and Travis Mayer are going.
I have Brent 1, Chandler 2, Phil 3, Travis 4, and then 5 is a toss-up for me between Colton and Tim Paulson.
Wow.
And Sam is just too much of a wild card for me to depend on. But again, like I said, he could win it or he could place 20th.
JR doesn't have Colton on there at all. He has no emotion. See, he was not going to be swayed by an emotional pick.
You like that?
Yeah.
You like that?
So,
all
what
his
are your
emotion
top
goes to his
5?
10-month. Hey, is your 10-month-old baby like just right at your feet asleep?
No, she's upstairs.
Oh. All right. Go ahead, Hiller.
What are your top 5 athletes? We see Brian put out his top 5 every week. Well, I want to know your top 5 athletes.
Can I see the list?
Yeah, he's got Fikowski, Mayer, Chandler, Phil Toon, Tim Paulson. I want to know who you got.
I got Colton Mertens first place.
He's Froning Bailey. Colton Mertens in first. Okay.
Yeah, Rich Froning second.
Hey, look who's here.
Mr. Smith.
Oh, right on time.
You've entered
Let's
the
go.
main. Ben, we got a question for you. We're
Right
coming
on
in
time.
hot. We're coming in hot.
What are we talking about?
Welcome to the show, Ben. Down below, Ben, we have J.R. Howell from CrossFit Crash. We have Hiller Fit. He's probably made a bad video about you. We have Taylor Self, the one-time man who dreamed of going to the games and got smashed by a pig. And then myself. Have you looked at the events at Granite Games, Ben? Is he frozen?
I've been shown. Yes, I've seen them. I haven't no. Sorry, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
We got you now.
I probably should try to connect my. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, I've
Caesar,
seen
will
them.
you bring up? Oh yeah, there you go, baby. Good job. Okay, let me. I'm gonna go through some of the notes here that Mr. Self gave me, and I know you. It doesn't sound like you've looked at them closely, and we're ambushing you, but we're very curious to hear your opinion. There's 2 events sub 4 for the men's field: the legless run and the something HSW. What's that stand for, Taylor?
This
Handstand
workout on the
walk.
screen. Yeah.
Handstand walk,
Handstand
Fran.
walk,
Okay.
Fran.
3 events. There's 3 events with running, 2 of which include shuttle runs, 2 events with 25-minute time cap or greater. That's what I'm really curious about. What do you think about that? No handstand push-ups, no sandbag, 3 events with a chipper format. We'll start with you, Ben. What do you think about having 2 events at the 25-minute time cap?
I guess I don't really see a problem with. Is everybody going to get close to that cap, or is it going to be like some people are finishing in 18 minutes? You know what I mean?
Good
Like, because if one of the workouts is like 17 or 18 minutes and the other one's a full 25, I think they're different workouts, different time domains, really.
Yeah, I
Right.
think event 3 has a longer time cap because of that chunk of 30 ring muscle ups, because it's the same for the females.
Oh, that chipper, I did see that.
I thought the run workout was the one with 27 minutes, and the Minnesota mashup was 25. Which
Taylor,
I thought
you are correct. The muscle up one is shorter.
Yeah.
I thought that workout though is probably, Ben, to what you said, is for a lot of the guys probably going to be a little under 20.
Matt, scroll up to the workouts, please. The chipper ones. There we go.
There you go. I think that one for guys is probably sub 20.
Yeah, I think you'll get a big separation in the field in that one.
Can we talk about how pointless those dumbbell clean and jerks are at the end? And they're just doing it to make the workout look pretty for no reason. Ben's laughing. He knows. 70-pound, and they have to move it forward every 2 reps.
Every 2 reps?
Like, yeah, I just read that on the website, which is in the wrong order.
Wow.
That doesn't make any sense.
In the past,
that doesn't
they've done things like that. Sorry,
go ahead,
Ben.
In
the past, they've done things like that where they like to end on an implement or a movement, that's challenging to finish or whatever. Like they did that with a sandbag sprint where you had to move the sandbag. It was like a bike sprint, burpees, and then a sandbag where you had to move it every 2 or 4 or whatever it was. Like Dave did that a lot with like a movement at the finish line where you had to finish. But in this chipper, it doesn't really make any sense to have
freaking 70-pound dumbbell.
Yeah, if it was a 150-pound dumbbell, I would understand. But a 70-pound dumbbell for men, every 2 reps you have to move forward. That doesn't even make sense.
I'm pretty sure the year Ben won the games, they had a 100-pound dumbbell squat snatch on the final, and they had to move forward every 2 reps. Is that right, Ben? Do you remember? Didn't Spencer Hendel win that event?
No, it's pedal to the metal. I don't know that it was it a squat snatch?
Yeah, there was
Ben knows that
one of the pedal to the metal ones. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they need to make a 100-pound dumbbell
snatch.
Easy.
I think those clean and jerks might be double dumbbell also. Not that
they are.
Still, yeah.
Double dumbbell. They should do 2 double dumbbell 100-pound dumbbells. Yeah.
Agreed. And what do you think about the 20-pound ball? Do you think it should be a 30?
50.
In that workout, probably. I don't think it needs to be. Yeah, okay. 50. No, I don't think it needs to be a 30-pound wall ball in that workout. If you're going to not change anything about that workout, like if you're going to just keep the workout and,
I know JR and I were talking about how it's essentially 150 wall balls and then the GHD sit-ups. So I think that the workout would have been cleaner if it were just 200 double under, the wall balls, the muscle ups, and then that's it. That's the whole workout.
Yeah, I'm actually curious to hear what Ben thinks about movement redundancy on back-to-back movements. So going from 20 wall balls to 40 single arm dumbbell overhead squats to 30 wall balls. The only time I can really remember that happening, and this is digging deep into the past, is the wall ball hang squat snatch workout at the games one year.
Oh,
and
wow.
Then also
30.
And then also I think in Chaos, they went from pistol to dumbbell overhead squat in Chaos. That's the only time I can really remember that sort of movement redundancy back to back. What do you think about stuff like that?
Yeah, that is true. I know that Dave changed that 30 and 30 workout like on the fly because I think he had planned for 5 rounds. And I think it was just going to crush people because they had so much volume in that first day of games. I was thankful that I got cut before that, so I didn't have to do that workout because I don't think I would have made it through that workout. But yeah, they haven't done something like that. The workouts have always been much simpler than this chipper.
You're telling me they changed a workout on the fly at the CrossFit games? They can do that? Like they could have cut a rope. They could do that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All the time.
That's all. That's all.
Ben, I got a question for you. This is off subject a little bit. What happens? What do you think Ben Fikowski's feeling at 220 pounds, 6'10", 31 years old? Is he feeling his age?
Is he feeling his age? I don't know. He looks pretty good.
How
Good
old are
answer.
you?
I mean, I'm just turned 32.
Okay. Are you feeling your age?
Sometimes.
And do you think that the athlete? Do you think that that there's been an and before you came on, I was talking about there's sort of been an evolution that things are moving faster and faster and faster. Basically, the transit there's not this movement and then that movement and then that movement. It's kind of just like swimming now. The pace people that we're getting better pacers in the game with faster paces. And then I think that's the nuance that's finally making it a sport, that someone just can't come into the gym who's super strong and beat a games athlete and happen chance in one event. And I don't think that Fikowski's keeping up with that. Like when you see someone like Saxon or Colton Mertens.
Sorry, can
Okay,
you
Hiller.
finish that last part of the sentence?
Hiller rolled his eyes at me. I just think that the newer athletes, we're seeing a faster transition time, faster paces, and I think the game has changed. I think the nuance there's nuance and innovation in between movements, faster pace, faster transitions, and they don't even see these things as like separate movements almost. And I think we saw that from Saxon last week.
Yeah, I mean the field
Kind of like what we used to see with
without a
Fran.
doubt, the
I guess you
athletes
talked about that. Say that again.
Sorry, go ahead. I think we're on a lag here, so I'm kind of catching you late.
Hiller loves it. Hiller said you spoke about that in regards to Fran, just basically the evolution of Fran. It used to be just do Fran, then pull the bar down, then butterfly pull-ups, and they're just becoming faster and faster. There just keeps becoming innovation in movements.
What I said was that he speaks about the limiters within the workout. So some workouts, there's things that get in the way, and present day there isn't. I gotta be right back. I'm sorry.
Couch.
So he's saying that what Ben was talking about in his podcast is that there used to be things within workouts that forced rest or forced some sort of pacing or forced some sort of strategy, and now it just seems like the difficulty or the skill or the evolution or progression in movements has kind of stopped, and now it's just who has the best metabolic conditioning or who has the best 2K row.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. It seems like it's going that way, and I think it kind of, maybe some of the events went that way where they went a little bit shorter and it was a little bit more about work capacity because it put on like a better show. They wanted to see athletes closer together or something like that. But I still think you can add in the skills the right way and make the workouts competitive and fun to watch.
Yes, Ashley, I did. Yes. Shall we pull up the women's field? Are you excited to watch this, Ben? Do you watch the semifinals?
I'll watch some of the events, probably like the final heat of the men's for sure. And I'll watch because Danny's been training here a while, so I'll watch Danny go too.
And so do you have that all planned out? Where you're like, okay, this heat will go at this time, and you'll stop whatever you're doing, stop doing cleans in front of the fridge, and come to the TV.
No, I barely caught you, but I will just watch it at the end of the day. Probably I'll just scroll back through the live stream.
Where are you? What's wrong with your connection? What state are you in? Are you in America?
I don't know. I'm on Wi-Fi. I'm at the gym. It said I shouldn't be on Wi-Fi. I don't know. I'm not very computer savvy. I'm on here.
All right, you're a good dude. We'll take it. How about when I do a full-length podcast with you? Are you gonna have a better connection?
I can try.
You're a good dude. Can we, Susie? Can we look at the women's list? We'll pick our winners for the Granite Games for the women. Can you pick honestly, Ben, or is there too much emotion?
Well, I don't really know anybody else. Who else do I know? I know Fee. Is she competing?
Yeah, she is.
Mal O'Brien and Amanda Barnhart.
Yep, I've met them.
Hey, is Laura a staple at CrossFit Krypton?
She should be coming back soon, hopefully. We don't know. She just shows up.
What is that? What is that like training with her? She just looks amazing. I mean, we get so little access to her, but when we do see her compete, it's just savage. Is it like that?
Yeah, she's very focused, and yeah, that's pretty much how she is training too. So She has a lot of fun though too, so we have a good time.
And is she compete when she trains there? Is she competing with you or with other girls? Who are training partners, boys or girls?
Whoever's there, anybody that can. I try to. She asked me if I was going to train with her for the games this year, and last year it was pretty rough. And I was like, I will do the best that I can, but I don't know about all of it. I'll have to, tag somebody else in.
Why has she come out to you? What is she seeing you that makes her want to come to Krypton?
You probably have to ask her. I think she enjoys it here. I think she has fun. I think there's people around her to push her, but it's like the right amount of it. It just kind of we seem to all just get along. So it's a good fit. We believe in her.
Who are we talking about?
Laura Horvat.
Okay. There's 2 girls over there, that are competing this weekend, right?
Who's the other? Oh, yeah, Danny.
Danny Spiegel, yeah.
Oh, this is a good question in the comment section. Do Laura and Danny get along? Ben?
Yeah, they get along.
Awesome.
They do work out together.
There isn't like an alpha female thing, like the Fraser Froning thing we all heard about.
Everyone behaves around Ben. No one's gonna misbehave around Ben.
Or else.
Yeah. When you got someone like him in there. Ben, are you still having games aspirations? What are you doing?
What am I doing? I don't know. I feel like there was a moment at the regionals where I'm like, this is my last one. So, I had that kind of like emotional moment there for me, and
yeah,
we'll see. I don't know what it's going to be.
But like this year when you were competing, you're not putting a lot of pressure on yourself?
What do you mean, this year at regionals?
Yeah, just in general, like as you do the Open,
Yeah, no, I knew going to the Open, I was like, all right, I'll qualify for the quarters, and then the quarters went really well, and then and I was feeling pretty good, and then I was like, all right, let's hammer it hard, see what we can do for the semis, and the workouts came out, and I'm gonna be honest, I saw the workouts, and I didn't even want to compete anymore. Like it took all that, it deflated me completely.
Is that an ever again statement, or is that just that competition?
No, for that competition, because I knew how I was going to finish. I could just tell from the events, and I wasn't too excited about them. But I was happy with how I went through the weekend. Mindset was good through each event. And I did better as the weekend went on, that was a win for me. Is take what you can get,
I asked you a question. Sorry.
Let me just ask this real quick. Ben, when you see a whole slew of workouts like that come out, and you say, hey, I know how I'm gonna do, and it takes the air out of your sail, is it fuck that guy, he fucked the programming up, or is it I have to go back to the lab and next year I have to be ready for this?
Well, that's what it was for me a couple years ago, and I kind of switched a lot of I think in 2016, 2017, the programming changed a little bit at the games. And it started to become more of that power output stuff, the shorter, faster sprints, and I wasn't as good at that stuff. And there was a lot more machines at stuff like the, leading up into the games. And I've never been good at that, still not. And I've worked on it so much that a lot of my other skills and a lot of my other strength went way down noticeably, like even my work capacity and stuff. So I did that multiple times, and that's what I usually do every year. But like this year, it's kind of like, I don't know which direction the sport's going. I don't know, what I'm supposed to be training for specifically, because you have to have something that you're shooting for, and you have to have, a plan of development towards certain skills. And if they're not even going to test the skills at the regional or the semifinal level, it's like, I don't know what I'm going to get. So not really much pressure on me for this year.
Do you think the Skierg is a stupid implement?
I mean, it's not stupid, but sometimes the way they put it into work, that's stupid.
I think it's fucking complete horseshit.
Yeah, but it's because you like to look at the athletes, not because it's actually stupid.
I mean,
Ben,
go ahead, Taylor.
I was gonna say, Ben, the post you made about that, I just had this thought earlier today, and me and JR have talked about how the legless shuttle run workout seemed to be a lazy progression from the quarterfinals shuttle run rope climb test. And you made this post about the peg, implementing the pegboard in that 10-rounder. Do you think that might be their plan in terms of a progression, and we'll see that at the games? that kind of same workout with a pegboard instead? And if you do think we'll see at the games, do you think that's too easy for a games test?
I don't think it would be too easy for a games test. I think it'd be fun to watch, but I think what needs to happen is those types of implements need to work their way down from the games level to the regional level, like movements work their way down from the regional level to the open as time goes on. And like, that just seemed like a natural progression. If you're just racing in a workout like the legless rope climb, if they say the key is to go fast down the rope, like that doesn't make any sense at all. Nobody practices falling off a rope. Like I don't know. It's just mind blowing to me. But anyways, yeah, pegboard seemed like a natural progression for that. So I think it'd be a good games test, but they need to test it at the regional level. They can't just test it at the games level because you're going to get a different field of athletes.
Yeah.
And it seems like, and it seems like, 2018, arguably some people will say the most well-rounded first 3 events they could possibly have, even though they were kind of all single modality, right? You had the triple threes, and then you had Linda, and then you had the handstand ramp, pistol, ring muscle up workout. So in all 3 triplets, you kind of test everything. And yeah, there's no mixed modality, but you still have that skill to offset the endurance, which offsets the strength and all that kind of stuff. My question is always, if we're continuing to push the envelope of strength, and we're expressing strength in different ways. So we're doing the 10-8-6-4-2 ladder, and then 1 year we're doing the max hang snatch into max handstand walk, and then we're doing complexes. Why are we hesitant to put pegboard, ramp, harder gymnastics movements, like you're saying, the trickle down effect? Why aren't we putting those in the semifinal regional level every year to make sure that before people get to the games, when they have to do an obstacle course that's far more difficult, that we know that they're actually skilled in that modality?
Yeah, here's a good example. You don't see like Cody Anderson and Chris Spieler competing anymore. They got kind of, booted out from the strength side of things because you can see the programming has been skewed towards heavier athletes or people that can just put out power on a bike or something like that. They need to test the gymnastics just like they need to test the strength, and they're not doing it.
And the skier ain't going to do any of that shit. Hey,
motherfucker.
I'm going to leave the skier alone, but I'm telling you, you get rid of that tool is not benefiting and helping us pick the fittest man alive or the process building up to it. It's something that your old mom should have in her garage so that she can get a sweat on. That's it. There's no, tell me different. Tell me how, what, I mean, it looks like a fucking medical device.
I mean, it's
no Torque Tank sponsorship, no Concept 2 sponsorship.
Yeah, we'll have the rower. I'm okay with the rower and the bike. It's
equally as boring to watch.
Right.
Yeah, it is.
Right. And I would even take
generally,
the
if you're good at one of them, you're good at all of them.
Oh, serious? It is like that?
I keep hearing you say that, but I think there's a little bit of a difference, no?
There's
Between
definitely
the
a little
machines?
bit of a difference. Like, I'm way better on the rower than I am on any other machine, but generally speaking, if you're 220 pounds, you're going to beat a guy that's 185 pounds almost on any implement.
Yes. Can't argue with that one. Ben,
And no one ever says Hopper's good at the skier. It's always like Hopper's good at the machines.
On your YouTube podcast, what do you call that thing? Is that a podcast? Is it also on Apple, or is that just on YouTube?
Yeah, we got it on Apple and Spotify, but we haven't figured out how to put the just audio since we've been doing the live versions.
Okay, so I was in the live chat and I asked you a question about your fitness level today compared to your fitness level, say 2017, 2018. And you talked about it a little bit, but I wanted to bring it up on here again, that you were the fittest man on earth in 2015. And you said that present day, you are currently fitter, the fittest version of yourself right now. And if the programming was written to the extent and degree that it should be written, you would figure that that progression of you should then resemble that. You should be at the bare minimum qualifying for the games. And you ended up taking what, 11th or 13th last weekend? So I almost use you as the litmus test to say, hey, the programming is good based upon your finish at an event. So you agree with that, right? You say, again, you're going to second to say that you're the fittest you've ever been, and that might be kind of a correlate or should be a correlate.
Yeah, I don't like, what ifs kind of thing because, I didn't qualify for the games and there's clearly a hole in, whatever you should be able to perform at whatever comes out. And there was clearly a hole in my game, but that hole has always been there. and it's been tested every year. And you can go back and look at my past performances, and the performances that I haven't done as good at were the ones that were very much like this, where they were just pure work capacity. And the movement and the workouts that have had the combination of work capacity and skill and strength, I've done very well at. There hasn't been many things where I'm just like head and shoulders above everybody else. That's just never been the case. I'm not that kind of athlete. But yeah, I think I'm fitter than I was back then for sure. I'm still the fittest version of myself. I know that without a doubt. But yeah, I would have loved the workouts to have come out differently, but I can't control that.
Wow. You are the fittest version of yourself?
I think so. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Absolutely.
Congratulations.
2015
It's so hard to
CrossFit Games
compare.
champ is saying that.
Yeah.
It's so hard to compare too, but all I can do is I log all my workouts and I've tracked everything. And I was training for these, last year and for this year, and I would repeat workouts over and over, and I would just smash my times from 2015. So it's like in training, end of the week, I'm tired. Maybe I have a time to beat and I can beat it, but I would beat it by a lot. So, there's a lot of workouts where I'm much better than I was in the past. And, the field has gotten a lot better too. So it's not just me.
Ben,
CrossFit's pretty cool.
What are these young athletes who are popping up on the scene? What are they thinking? What's James Sprague going through? Are they James Sprague, Mal O'Brien? Like what kind of pressure is she going to feel this weekend? Everyone expects her to win. This is only her second season?
No, she did the teenage division a couple of years.
Yeah, what's going on with them? We saw Haley Adams do it. Now she's she's turned into like a full woman with confidence, and she just handles her own. But are these other kids, are they freaking out? Did you freak out when you came on the scene?
No, I don't know what you mean by came on the scene. I finished third one year, and maybe that was when people started looking. But I don't feel.
How old were you your first CrossFit Games? 19?
19.
Okay, and what year was that?
2009.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first year Annie was there too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No, the pressure was the pressure that I placed on myself. I didn't have other people on social media predicting how I was going to finish, and everybody talking about how I'm training and what I'm posting online and this, that, and the other. It was just I was there for me to do what I wanted to do because I saw the test of the CrossFit Games and I wanted to go perform at that test to see how I stacked up. And that was what I wanted to do. And it was very self-motivated. I was very self-motivated in that way. I guess if you really pay attention to it, it's probably a lot of pressure if you have people predicting that you're going to, crush all of these events and whatnot. But, it's up to the athlete whether or not they want to pay attention to all that stuff.
If you wanted to give advice to these youngins coming up, what advice would you give them? What advice would you give 19-year-old Ben?
What advice would I give me?
Get a bigger fridge.
I mean, it's a different time period. Yeah, it's a different time period. It's a different sport. It's a different culture around the whole thing. The community's a little bit different. The people that are watching are different. It's hard to compare the two. I don't like social media.
Oh, you don't? You don't like, and what don't you like about it?
I think that the athletes should get attention when they go to the games and they perform well. Yeah. And there's a lot of speculation, and the speculation doesn't really do anybody any good. And it's fun to do, and people make their living speculating on things. But I think as an athlete, you should try to ignore that as much as you possibly can and go do what you need to do.
I agree 100%. You should ignore it. Unless it's coming from Hiller.
The comment section has all these people who are saying the game was different when Ben Smith started. Everyone's like, it was different in 2009. It was different in 2015. The field's gotten so much better. And I guarantee you those are the same freaking people that are saying if Froning wouldn't competed, he'd win the games. It's like, how can you say that he's the fittest version of himself will win the games, but Ben Smith isn't the fittest version of himself and can still qualify for the games? You can't say the same thing. It's like you can't say one thing and not the other thing. So I'm just frustrated that Ben isn't at the games. And I'm frustrated because the programming is crappy, and that's all.
I was listening. I'm going to jump to the end here, and then we can come back. I was listening to the podcast with the Morning Chocolate podcast, Tommy, Brian, Patrick, and Lauren, and they said something about 2 athletes are going straight to the last chance qualifiers because of travel issues. I didn't catch the names of who they were.
one is
Hamza
Dennis Samsonov.
Tarefi and Dennis Samsonov. Yep.
Okay. And Dennis Samsonov, that's the fittest wizard, right?
That's
Or
your
the
guy, man. That's your fave.
Yeah. Do we like this, JR? Is this a nice thing? Do we?
I mean, I've heard nothing but really good things about both of those athletes and how fit they are. I think someone has brought it up in one of the podcasts I've listened to about the ability for the athletes to trade due to restrictions like that.
Right.
Like if Taylor gets sent to Syndicate and I get sent to Atlas Games, but Taylor lives in Minnesota, and we can say, hey, dude, you want to switch so you can be closer and I can be closer to home? And if they say cool, then they do it. Now, then you run into the huge problem of having a really, really, really stacked semifinal, and then maybe one that doesn't have as equally diverse talent levels. But, I think that's something that hopefully they won't have to deal with moving forward, but this year may have still been a good idea.
It's also less damage to their body, isn't it? Or is that irrelevant? Because if they just go to last chance qualifier, they didn't have to deal with the semifinals. Less wear and tear on the body. Doesn't matter? What do you think, Ben?
I hadn't thought about that. Interesting.
Did you know that there were two people doing that, going straight to the last chance qualifier?
I heard Krenikov was. I didn't know about.
But
the
he's
other
not
one,
actually.
but
But he's not.
No.
No, it's Krenikov and Alexander. Help me, someone. The Russian guy.
Krenikov and
Alexander
Ilin are competing at Far East.
Yeah.
they'll be starting in a few hours. Actually.
No shit.
Yep.
With the best events we've ever seen.
Serious?
No.
They are so
Oh.
bad. The Far East programming is dog shit.
Okay,
unfortunately.
before we lose Ben, let's talk about that really quick. Tell me what's wrong with the Far East program. Where is the Far East? That's in Korea?
Korea, yeah.
Okay. South Korea?
Yeah, South North. So
Let's go there. Let's look at their programming.
The first triplet, the row calorie, ring muscle up, hang snatch that's not the worst in the world. That's classic CrossFit. I think if anything, make the snatch a squat snatch or make the power a little bit heavier. But it's a good workout. That's a triplet. You'll see separation. Guys are going to go really fast. It's just a short workout.
Okay, but all right. Since
That's
we
gonna be
talked
really
about
hard.
this,
Yeah, get him,
JR.
since we were going to be talking about this, before, let's look at this workout and let's agree on something. Other than catching really high on a muscle up and dropping straight down and barely kipping, everyone's doing 9 at the same speed.
Yeah.
On the hang snatches, unless some people are muscle snatching and going a little bit faster, there isn't going to be any separation on the hang snatches. So unless grip is the limiter somewhere for some athletes, it's going to be strongly dependent on how hard they can do the 18 calories, which is just 54 calories of work. So when you have a workout like this, I mean, that 12-minute cap is going to get obliterated. And then you have the legless workout that is separated by very small margins. So kind of to Ben's point and everything, where is the separation happening? I mean, what do
Are
you
you
guys
taking into consideration that it's a weaker talent pool out there?
Not
that
when
doesn't
someone
matter.
like Roman is out there.
Right.
Yeah, that doesn't matter.
This is the Roman
Guys,
Krenikov event.
This 3-round workout is no joke. Like, I think it's going to crush people.
How do you figure?
I think that's way grippier than you think. I've done muscle
I
up
agree
hang
with that.
snatch uplifts and just 30 reps, like just 30 and 30, and it's hard.
So
like
it's
you're
a
going to
grip
see
test
people
here.
failing muscle ups on the 3rd round.
We need Ben on more often.
Well, you saw people failing muscle ups in the quarterfinals triplet, and that didn't have any grip involved. It was just all hip flexors. I agree with Ben. I think that workout is a good triplet. It's deceiving.
Okay, all right.
It is.
All right, good, Taylor. Okay, now go to the final, and you tell me if grip is the limiter and grip is what we're testing. Are we testing the exact same thing in the final?
Sousa,
Yeah.
can we get
I
to
know
the
what you're
last
doing.
event?
I know what he's doing.
That is
here.
my point. That's why I said that.
All right, you're right.
Yeah, that's the same exact thing. I mean, no, you're not wrong.
There you go.
You're not wrong.
50 double dumbbell deadlifts, 100-foot double dumbbell walking lunges, 100-foot farmer carry.
It's like, that's going to be, talk about boring to watch. Come on, man. The final.
I don't know. Couldn't there be a race at the end there with the
Well,
farmer's
see,
carry? I thought it was
not
pretty
walking.
Here's the deal.
Oh,
But-
walking
but-
race.
But that was a great event at the games that one year where they were carrying the heavy kettlebells, the 200-pound kettlebells or whatever, and they were walking, and you're wondering, is so and so going to put it down? Is so and so going to put it down? I found that compelling as a fan.
Well, and here's the deal. That workout on its own is cool, and it will be fun to watch. But someone has alluded to it in the past, and I think it was when Scott was on. What are we testing here? Okay, we're testing grip. Should we be doing it again in a 9 to 10 minute workout?
That's a great point,
Yeah.
especially
And a
since
sixth
Ben went
event.
straight there, especially since with the last one, that's exactly where Ben went. Just
In
grip.
a six event test. Yeah, that ain't pretty.
There usually is a grip limited workout. And someone in the comments just said, why the fuck are they testing grip and not fitness? And that's almost the entire thing, is that all they seem to be testing is like, how hard can you push within these different time domains? And that's what Ben keeps on saying, is that there's a 10-minute workout, there's a 25-minute workout, and there's almost no limiter. And I think that having a grip limited test is an okay idea. There could be like a core limited test. There can be a squat endurance limited test, and that will be your limiter. The issue here is that there's two of them.
Yeah.
Can we see event 5?
And for a lot of the female athletes, that's exactly what the legless road climb is going to do too.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a good point.
So this will be the workout that they'll do in the morning before they get to that grip. I know the problem is that there's 2 grip tests, but they will be fully recovered from day 1, more or less, right? Their grip by the time they come to it.
What are you testing in this workout?
This one,
And-
5.
And the
Yeah.
Far East chipper.
Yeah, I mean, look, the 2 workouts, first one and the one that ends with the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 snatches, those aren't bad, and I can see those playing out as good events. But this one, I'm like, what are you testing?
Yeah.
So
There's not
that's
enough.
a 1,200-meter run with some shit around it.
That's right.
We
Yeah.
definitely shouldn't be having kipping handstand push-ups in regional level competition.
Agreed.
Tell me
Unless
why.
it's paired with
Why do
something that's
why do you say that?
unless it's paired like, remember that one regional workout where it was like you had to do double unders and then it was 50 kipping handstand push-ups, then it was toes to bar, then it was axle shouldered overhead, and then a front rack axle lunge. Something like that was fine, because the handstand push-ups, they definitely separated some, but it really played in, and we were only in there to play into the end of the workout with the shouldered overhead, and that's kind of what he was testing.
But sorry, maybe I'm not following you, but it doesn't say that these handstand push-ups are kipping.
It just says regular handstand push-ups. That's the point. I mean, I guess they could be pulling some sort of, the classic Dave tactic where it just says handstand push-ups and you don't know what variation it is. But I'm pretty sure it's safe to assume that she's kipping in the video, so it's a normal handstand push-up.
But even if you make those 40 parallel handstand push-ups, that's still silly.
Yeah, I agree.
And why? Sorry, Ben, I'm not following you. Why at the regional level not do those? It's too many.
You get 6 tests, and I think you need to test that strict handstand push-up or some sort of. There needs to be that skill in there, that level of skill and strength.
Okay,
wanna
sorry,
know-
I understand. Okay, I understand.
I want to know who wrote this, who's writing these, and what gives them the qualifications to do so. I want answers to everything, Sevan. We talked about it earlier. We need answers.
Do you have
Like
insight
what?
into that, Ben? Do you have insight into who makes these workouts?
No, but I know CrossFit said they okayed them, right? Whatever that means.
Yep.
Put their stamp of
Yeah, why
approval on
can't
it.
Ben Smith write these workouts? So he's competing.
I do like that too. I do like that there seems to be like a sort of a Louis Vuitton element to it, to say the Far East workout brought to you by Ben Smith, the Far East workout brought to you by Josh Bridges, the Far East workout brought to you by Dave Castro. I mean, why not have these signature? It's cool, right?
They've
should.
done that.
It wouldn't
The
be
thing
a bad
about it-
idea, but it's not.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, Ben, go.
Yeah, Ben, you go ahead.
No, I was going to say I wouldn't really see anything wrong with that, but I think that the key is you have to really trust the people that are doing the programming, and you have to, like, as athletes and as spectators, and for CrossFit HQ, like, they should really care about who's doing their programming, because I think that if they put on the best test possible, then they're going to also bring in the most attendance, the most people watching, the most athletes that want to do it, because that's what brought me into the sport, was the test.
Yeah,
And I think they should really focus on that. So it's like, yeah, they could get people together to make these tests. They could do that, but you need to be able to, know who's doing the tests, who's writing them, and that you trust them.
yeah, it's pretty intuitive to look at an event like this. I'm sure for someone like you, maybe not for everyone, but at least for me, it's pretty intuitive to look at it and be like, damn, that's fucking cool. I want to go do that. Or, wow, that's stupid. And I think the one thing to point to is we know from several people that CrossFit basically gave these semifinals some bumpers, but that no real movements or implements were off limits. They kind of had carte blanche there. And, you just have that example with people doing some events doing swimming. So you could do whatever you wanted movement wise. And the fact that there's not there's not a pegboard, or there's not, like Granite Games had the flip sled as a sponsor, and they're not even going to use it to flip it.
Damn.
Like the fact that these semifinals have this vanilla, that right there is like evidence to me enough that they don't really have any qualification. They don't have any creativity. They're not.
What do you mean vanilla? What do you mean? What do you mean vanilla?
Well, we know at least the Granite Games workout, they're pushing the sled. So if Flip Sled is their sponsor, then they're just gonna push the fucking Flip Sled. Come on, man.
You're
That's
telling
vanilla.
me Colton created a flip sled and they're not even going to use one?
Yeah, for nothing, brother. Well, they're gonna have to push it.
Ben, help me out here.
Interesting.
So, if this is a multiple choice question, you're saying, what is this workout testing? I don't understand. You're seeing something I don't see. Like, so what are some possible answers for what you like to see in a workout? Like, is this testing strength? Is this testing metabolic capacity? Is this testing gymnastics? Like, what are you referencing?
I gave a really good example. I looked go back and if you watch the last podcast we just did, it was all about the 2016.
Don't be plugging your shit on here. Don't be plugging. No.
He's lying. He wants you to plug it.
I'm doing it so that you can go back and you can see exactly what I was talking about. And I answer some of those questions. Go back and look at the 2016 test, and look at the different events, and you can see clearly what they're testing and how they're spread out, they're varied, but they all have this background of work capacity at the right level. Like it's not all or nothing. Like it's not all skill and it's not all just general work capacity. There's a good combination of both. And that's the only thing that really, one of the things that CrossFit does differently than all these other sports is that you have to have this work capacity, but you also have to have all of these skills, and you have to correctly put those two together into a test. And you have to have all of the tests come together, like all 6 events come together to make one good test. It can't just be random 6 events.
Which video is it for people who want to dig in?
920 views. Should have about 9,020 views.
This one, why? This one right here?
Yeah.
Why semifinals needs fixed and how to fix it.
Something you
that
brought
was
up
my
on
best
there, Ben.
attempt at clickbait title.
Well done. Well done.
Hey, I'll send you some clickbait ideas.
I put it in the comments. I put it in the chat. No one leave now. Go later on when you're taking a shit. Thank you.
Yeah. So Ben, something you brought up in there that I thought was really awesome was that, so I compete in that regional. It's the one I did individual. And you said that present day, you could take a lot of those workouts with the exception of the finale and plug them in present day. And that's something that I brought up in a video that I just made with the reverse handstand walking friends. Like, one, they try to get cute with it. And 2, like, no one's ever going to go ahead and say, hey guys, let's go do a reverse handstand walking friend. It's like something no one's ever going to say. But when you look at event 2 here, which is regional Nate, everybody can say, hey, let's go do a regional Nate. And it's going to be a workout that withstands the test of time. And that's something that you said. And on event 7, just up the weight on the thrusters a little bit. And they're going to remain awesome workouts.
Mm-hmm. You could copy and paste this regional and just have everybody do this every year and you'd probably be okay.
Damn, they should. Like, that's what the FF something was going to do with the head of the people who are trying to make it an Olympic sanctioned sport. They were trying to get these standardized tests. And this is an awesome, which is what you said, set of tests.
Yeah. I mean, just look at it. It's not the same thing. It's not the same sport as 2022. It's completely different.
Remember those 405 deadlifts? There was people who couldn't do them at that point in time. It was just like, that's the idea. There should be something there where you can't do it. The strict muscle ups, that was my best movement. I remember everyone's like, look at that guy doing them. And then there's people in the lane right next to me cheering me on during the middle of the workout because they couldn't do it and they knew they couldn't do it. And then today it's like, all right, everyone go do some line facing burpees, and everyone's trying to figure out who can do line facing burpees, sled push, freaking echo bike as fast as they can. It's just stupid.
Yeah, and what happens when you put in those skills is that you force the field of athletes that are coming up next year to practice those skills and get better at them. And Dave was so good at that. He would always throw out things in the open or the regional level or even the games where you watching as a spectator, but you're also an athlete, say to yourself, you have to learn that for next year. You have to get better at swimming. You have to get better at strict muscle ups. You have to be able to do strict handstand push-ups after strict muscle ups, something like that.
There's 3.5 workouts right there limited by something, and the something is always something different. And then there's 2 workouts there that are meant to be pushed. And there's 1 workout there that's separated by a minute. So you're testing capacity. It's just awesome.
I thought 2018 was also similarly a really, really good regional. I love 2018, but I came into the sport in 2017. So it was,
Guys, I love the programming talk. I think we killed it. We should move back over. Let's get through at least the females over at Granite Games. Yeah.
Yep.
But that was good. That was the best programming talk we've had. I'll give Mr. Ben Smith the credit for that.
Thanks, Ben. Ben, I've got that book, by the way. Did you have to go to college to get that book, or did you just buy it? The Essentials.
No, I had a friend give it to me after he took the course.
Had it.
NSCA.
What's that look like? You had him give it to you. Hey, give me your lunch
No.
money. And that
A
book.
friend gave it to me after he took it.
Oh, okay. I liked it better the first way you phrased it.
Yeah.
I'm sweating from that, by the way. I was just got so angry.
Let's talk about some of the people who were not sure if they're going to make it. What is Fee Sagafi Taylor? Is Fee Sagafi going to the CrossFit Games this year?
I think Fee is one that's in hot contention. Do you want my 5 or?
Yeah, 5'2", 135 pounds. Can
she?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Mal's going. Amanda Barnhart's going. I believe Emily Rolfe is going. And I think the other 3 that are really, really kind of in that conversation are Danny Spiegel, Sydney Wells, and Fee Sagafi. And the reason I say Sydney, just because look at what a few months of Proven did for Saxon. And I'm sure she's improved her high skill stuff since last year. She's got a massive motor. But
how can you not put Danny Spiegel on there? Aren't those all 4 of those spots kind of taken? Mal, Amanda, Emily, and Danny?
When you look at the workouts, you might change your mind.
Yeah, the long workouts are the only ones I look at, and I'm like, Ben's going to hate this because I'm sitting here speculating, and I don't really know shit about her other than what's in the past. But typically the longer workouts with running have given her an issue. So we'll see. But she's extremely fit.
So 5'6", 168 versus what Fee Sagafi's driving is 5'2", 135, and you put a bunch of running in there and three running.
Danny's probably gonna win. Go JR. Sorry.
To that point, with the 3 workouts with running, if I look at someone like Danny, one of them, I know it's actually set up as an upper back chipper, but it's almost a triplet. The one with the snatches, the shuttle run, and the chest to bar. I would say that of any athlete that can be really, really aggressive on the barbell and possibly make up for the shuttle runs, it's going to be Danny and going touch and go.
That's a good point.
I stole this from the Morning Chalk Up crew also. They were talking about Chloe Wilson. And if I heard it right, they were suggesting that she might be the strongest cat in the group. Do we know about her? Can we click on her?
Wow, stronger than Danny. I think Danny probably wins 2 workouts. I think she potentially go in the strength, and also the handstand walk thruster workout should be really good for her.
What happens when
win that one?
What happens when we Google her, Souza? Chloe, are you? Let's see if we can see something in YouTube. Do you guys? Any of you guys see? I thought they said last year she beat Danny at the lifting event.
That's a cool hat she's wearing. That's all I know about her.
Oh, it's a fire hat. So she's a firewoman. If you guys were in a burning building and a firefighter came in, would you want them A, to be a CrossFitter or a lifetime member of the Winchell's Coffee Club, the Dunkin' Donuts Coffee Club? The tough questions. I always want a CrossFitter to show up first for everything.
The people who just brought my couch in were CrossFitters.
They were?
No.
Oh. Okay, yeah, let's scroll down. Oh, yeah, she's not short either, 5'7".
Scroll down a bit more. Does she have any of those, like, weightlifting things under there? No, bench work, weight. Yeah. Interesting. 225 clean and jerk. Those aren't always updated though.
Right.
They should be. That should be mandatory. You shouldn't be allowed to compete in the open unless you update those.
You have to live within 100 miles of the affiliate, and you have to update your benchmarks, or you don't get to go.
Yeah, agreed.
Isn't that interesting that nobody updates nobody probably don't even do some of those workouts?
Yeah, what do you think about that?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Isn't that interesting?
When's the last time you did Helen, Ben?
Right.
Do you know? Because it sucks.
Probably like
it's so hard.
6 or 7 years ago.
300-400 meter runs as fast as you can at this point.
That's pretty much what it is, yeah. But that's what it was in the past too, is who could run faster.
There was a point where it was a little bit less than that, but it was still, who the fastest person usually won that one, or how close the pull-up bar was to the exit that you ran outside.
Yep.
It sounds like from looking here at the comments that there was some sort of a judging debacle with Danny Spiegel last year. Someone is saying, I wonder what happens if she gets the same judge.
I hope it's that guy from the last weekend. Just because he's a great judge, that's all. He was the best judge ever. What are you going to do? He was just doing what he was supposed to do. That's how everyone should be.
Ben, what do you think about my my favorite second favorite CrossFit athlete after you, Colton Mertens?
What about him?
When I asked Ben Bergeron if he can go to the games, this is not a dig at Ben at all. I love me some Ben Bergeron. He was saying,
asked if he could win the games.
Oh, if he could win the games. Thank you, Taylor. He said no.
Yeah, I'm never going to be one to say somebody can't do something, like nothing, can't do that. But
you think the bus taking the other athletes has to crash for Colton to win?
There are there are things that he's really good at, but there's probably just going to be things that he's weak at too. So that's just the way that it goes.
Just being 5'4", he's just fucked.
I mean, it is what it is. That you got the hand you're dealt,
The reason I actually dislike Bergeron so much is because of his hatred towards Colton Mertens.
Does he hate him? Does he really hate him?
Sevan, you tell us. What do you say? He said that it's
no.
the
He wasn't hating on Colton at all. I asked him, what's the perfect CrossFitter look like? And
the furthest thing from Colton is what he said.
And he made himself vulnerable and shared it, and I appreciated it.
All right.
I thought it was solid what he did.
I think it depends on the programming, and at this point, anything's possible.
Oh, I'm absolutely not against Colton.
No, not you, Ben.
No, he said the Bens are against me. I think that. Yeah.
I don't know.
He's riding a pig over to your house right now, Ben. Lock your door. Brian Friend gave Colton a last chance call for at least. Here's the thing. Why can someone is Colton more of an outlier than Fikowski? How come Fikowski is so freaking good and amazing and Colton is, we're yet to see.
Look at his time in the sport.
Right. Okay.
I was just thinking about that. And if you look at like, what is the average CrossFitter that's going to be, let's say on the podium or something like that, they're probably 5'8". So Colton's probably closer to that than Fikowski is.
Right.
But the sports go in one direction, which is what we keep saying.
That's why Fikowski, I think, has done well relative to years in the past, because I think years in the past, it would have been opposite.
It's interesting. And when you say the direction it's going, I didn't understand what Taylor was explaining that to me in the beginning of the show. And he was saying work capacity, and I asked him to define it. And I think I'm starting to get it. You're saying is that the direction you're saying it's going? It's going towards like these machines and sort of endurance. And is that what you're saying?
Yeah, more like he's 220. That just plays to your advantage in a lot of different events that have work capacity elements. If you put somebody on a bike, the heavier you are and you're on flat ground, you're going to put out more power than the lighter athlete. But then once you go up hills, it changes.
Mm-hmm.
I would say to an extent, the taller and bigger an athlete is, the better they'll do at the games, because usually at the games and at Granite Games in particular, they've got to traverse areas. So Fikowski being 6'1", he'll have an advantage on every single thing where he's got to go somewhere to somewhere else or move something from somewhere to somewhere else. And the same advantage happens on the bike. And a lot of the times on the qualifiers, you're in a box where all you've got to do is move up and down or side to side. And when you're not 6'1" like Bukowski is, you'll have an advantage with that. And the issue with what's happening in the space at the semifinals is a lot of these things are not at all trying to offset the moving from point A to point B issue. Do you follow that at all?
No. Benny Garrard was short. Benny Garrard was shorter than Colton.
No, he's not.
Oh, dude.
He's not.
Sousa, prove me right.
No fucking way.
He can't prove
dude,
you're
I'm
right
telling
because you're
you.
wrong.
I'm telling you, Benny Garrard. Ben, what do you think? You were competed against him.
Against Ben Garrard?
Yeah.
I don't know how tall he is.
Hey, he comes up to like here in me, under my chin.
Yeah, you're 6'1".
You're thinking of someone different.
No, Ricky Garrard's brother. He's tiny. He's the smallest dude. I think he's probably the smallest dude ever to compete at the CrossFit Games. God, I hope I'm right. That would make me 18-0 against you guys.
You're not 18-0.
Holy shit, he's 4 inches tall.
165 centimeters.
Yeah, that's like 4 inches.
165 centimeter, 2 inches.
Survey all right, homies. I have to bounce.
5'4". Okay, bye. So he's 5'4". Okay.
Smith.
So he's the same size. He's the same size. All right. Thank you, Mr. Hiller. Oh, Andrew left. Do we even want to mess with the Far East and talk about those people over there?
Roman's gonna win, and the Korean girl Seong Choi probably gonna win as well on the women's side.
I did have in my notes that Patrick Clark called what did he say? He did some cultural appropriation in the show. He called one of those girls over there. Damn, what was it? It was so funny when he said it too. I forget. He said something about kangaroo. He called her a kangaroo something. Who heard that? Here we go. He called the girl from the Korean girl who's supposed to do well there a Korean kangaroo. And I think that's cultural appropriation. If you're not from Australia, you can't Karen the kangaroo, but not Korean the kangaroo. Alexander and Roman, they got that easily made. Is that what you're saying, Taylor?
I think Roman's got it easily made. I don't know the rest of the field well enough to say that Alexander Ilin has it easily made, but he is really fit. I think he made the games 2018, or 2019, but that was kind of a weird year. He made it in one of those weird ways, one of the like 12 ways you could go in 2019.
I want to say Ant Haynes is probably another one to keep an eye on. I'm pretty sure in 2019, the year with all the cuts, I think he finished in the top 30 or 40. So he's a fit guy too.
Shout out to Taylor Self's training. My deadlift has increased 201 pounds. My wiener has grown 13 inches. I am a believer.
That's our accessory. You just pull on it as hard as you can for 20 minutes.
When you deadlift, I heard you tie it around the bar and stand up. Use your hands.
You stand up.
What if this is Amanda Barnhart's year? Does she have something to prove here? Does she have to beat Mal here? Does she have to make a statement here at the Granite Games?
I don't think she has to make a statement to prove it's her year. I mean, Justin Medeiros didn't win his semifinal last year and killed everyone at the games. I think Amanda's for sure a threat. She moves so well.
That's because the games were different than the semifinal, but I'll just stop there.
What do you no, go there. Oh, I mean, yeah, the semifinal. That's right. You're right. At the MAC, that's a good point. Ben's talking about how the MAC last year was machine bias as well. He's right. I failed to mention.
Well, I think also too, he's alluding to the fact that if the same person is writing the programming for all the stages of the CrossFit Games, then you can look at one person's performance from the previous competition and maybe do a better job at predicting their performance later on. So if the programming's all done by the same people, if someone wins their semifinal, it's the same person that programs the games, you can probably think that person should be pretty successful.
That's a good point. Yeah.
It's so hard to tell who's going to do well at these events. Because it kind of is up in the air, and I think some people like seeing that. Like you've alluded to, Sevan, you like watching the race, right? It's like some people enjoy watching that, and where it's like you could just kind of throw the chips on the table and see how they fall out. But that hasn't been how it's been always in the past.
I like that, but that is sort of a testimony, kind of contrary to what we've been saying, right?
Well, it's like we talked about before Ben came on. are we getting to the point where the people who organize the events and program the events feel more pressure to make it more viewer friendly or to make it more fitness friendly?
But we also decide that they can do both, right?
They should be able to do both.
Yeah,
I
Dave
think it's
did both.
possible. Yeah, we have
how about
examples in the past.
right? How about Sydney Wells, Brooke's sister? Would it just be remarkable that she can join the I don't think she was. I mean, she's relatively new to CrossFit, right? Three years most.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a good storyline to watch. I mean, I'm pretty sure she was top 15 at West Coast last year, with people saying that she was pretty new to the sport from a skill standpoint. And I remember out there, there were the strict deficit handstand push-ups. They did the squat clean ladder. I think that opened up with 15 ring muscle ups, and that may have slowed her down a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see with a workout with 10 legless and then a workout with 30 ring muscle ups in the middle, how much better she's gotten at those skills.
I think I've run out of stuff. Is there anything any of you guys want to bring up? Taylor, anything?
I mean, I wish, we got sidetracked a little bit. I wish we would have talked about the men's field a little deeper because that's what I know the most, but I'm happy with everything we covered. I'm just so excited to watch this weekend.
We have day one at the Granite Game starts. Oh, shit. So at 7 p.m., the Far East starts. That's what you were saying at the beginning of the show, right?
Yep.
Who's going to watch that? Is anyone going to watch that?
Roman. I mean, dude, watching Roman's going to be fun.
Okay. And then the next events, the Granite Game starts tomorrow. The team start at 12:54, and the individual event starts at 1:42. And we'll put out a schedule of when we're going to be back on to analyze later on today. Ben Smith, thanks for coming on, dude. JR, thanks for coming on.
Thanks, guys.
Mr. Souza, thanks for running the back end.
Thanks, man.
Of course. Great show, guys.
See y'all.
See ya.
I hope my COVID goes away.
Dude, you sound like shit. How sick are you? You all right?
I'm dead.